Welcome to Ghostly. Welcome to Ghostly.
Does Resurrection Mary haunt this earth?
All right, we're going to forego all the explanation in here because I just want to say this is our 5-year anniversary episode.
5 years.
Yeah, and we weren't even going to put out this episode, so I hope you guys are surprised. So this is we're going to revisit a topic that we covered in our first episode, which was Resurrection Mary.
Yeah, I don't even know if we asked the question back then.
No, we didn't. Things were so different then.
So different. I just re-listened to it. And I mean, it's not a bad episode at all. I mean, it's actually really fun to listen to. And I think we did
I think it's one of our best actually for our first episode. Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
But it's definitely had a lot of things just in a different order and a lot of things we don't have in there. So it's really fun to see where we were and where we are now 5 years later.
So here's the game plan for this episode. We are going to do an interview with our friend Anthony Collaro. It's an amazing story that he has, or amazing stories.
I was going to say, we thought he was coming on to talk about Resurrection Mary. Like, that was the thing. He said he had a story.
Yeah.
He had 2 Resurrection Mary stories,
and
number 1.
Bachelor's Grove stories and Ouija stories.
Yes.
So...
we've had great interviews, especially with Ghostly X. We do a lot of interviews there.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of the best. Little did we know when we recorded our original Resurrection Mary episode that we knew somebody that had stories.
Yes.
If we had known, we would have included him back then.
No, and he kept on me for 5 years about this. Every time I would see him, he'd bring it up.
Right.
So it's time to do this.
It's time. What a way to celebrate 5 years.
Yes.
5 years with amazing listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. We are so thankful for you guys, and we would never have imagined that Ghostly would become what it is today.
Absolutely not.
And then when we are done with that interview, we are going to have some messages from some friends of Ghostly.
Yeah, talking about Resurrection Mary and, whatever. Just, people that have been involved as you guys have met through Ghostly.
Yes.
So you'll know all of them.
If you're a regular
Ghost, if you've been listening for a while. But this is a don't miss episode because these are great stories.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get to it.
All right.
All right. We'd like to welcome Anthony onto the show. He's in the 5 years that we've been doing this, he has not been on Ghostly, but he's been in my ear the whole time about his experiences with Resurrection Mary. So we thought we'd bring him on to talk about some of the stuff going on there.
Well,
welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate being here. And I'm the occult and the, this ghostly thing you guys got going here. It intrigues me because sometimes I believe and sometimes I don't.
Oh, that's what we were going to ask you.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So do you consider yourself a believer or a skeptic?
I think I'm skeptical, but there's things that I just believe.
Maybe you're a skeptical believer then.
That's often what we'll say. So we'll say like skeptical believer, or some people say hashtag in the middle. because there's hashtag skeptic, hashtag believer, hashtag
Or
in
tweenie.
the middle. No, there's no tweenie.
Yeah, I can't be a tweenie.
No, you cannot be. You don't want to be a tweenie. That's not
So okay, so you consider yourself like a skeptical believer. So you believe some things because you feel like you have to, right? And then you are skeptical about some things because that's just your nature.
Exactly.
Yeah. All
and
right.
well, and maybe tell us a little bit about like growing up too, like what kind of things kind of formed your.
Wait, so your name is Anthony. So you're an Italian American, right?
I am Italian American, and I'm very proud of it.
All right. That defines a little bit of who Anthony is. Like most times, I don't care about people's race or anything like that, but you are the epitome of an Italian American, which I love. It's
you're
awesome.
not the first guy who ever said that. I just want you to know that. People say, "Are you from New York?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm from Chicago." And they're like, "Oh, well, you got an accent." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, you're Tony Danza.
That's right. I apologize. It's just what I got.
Who's the boss, anyways? You
My wife.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you grow up?
So I grew up southwest side of Chicago.
Yeah.
And Catholic, raised Catholic, and very. Went to Catholic school for 12 years. So I went to 8 years of grammar school, 4 years of high school, and then I went to seminary to become a priest.
What? I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, I did. I went for about 3 months. It lasted.
That's all I can I'm sure the first day you were like, I don't know about this. I don't know.
Are you like the second son or something? I don't know.
No,
like
the first son.
First son.
Yeah.
Wow, but they wanted you to be a priest. I know that's a thing with
I don't
Italian
know if they
American.
wanted me to. It was just, I thought that priests were pious, meaning that they're holy all the time and they're just devoted to God.
No, they play poker.
They play poker and they swear a lot.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
something I wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
And as far as I could tell, none of these guys were pious, and that was what kind of like turned me away.
Interesting.
I still have strong beliefs in. I guess I have strong beliefs in God touching us in some way.
Sure.
Right? But I don't know that I believe in religion per se anymore.
Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah.
I think the stories are there that are great to guide us, right? And I think in now and throughout my life, the stories always help me.
Yeah.
Right? To think about, hey, what
I'm sure you raised your children with those stories and
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah.
I did my best to, not have them be me. Right? I was always worried about that.
So you were saying about the priest thing. I have an interesting story. When I was in high school, I went to Saint Rita, so a very Catholic high school, and I had to turn in an assignment after class was over. So I went to the monastery, and there he was in a Hawaiian shirt with the little collar thing at the top. I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Right? It kind of blows your mind.
It did, yeah.
Right?
It's like going behind the scenes of a TV show. Right. It ruins everything for you.
Exactly, it does, right? You're like, I don't want to see the magic line.
Exactly. Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah,
come
right.
on.
No, that's not right.
So, like growing up Catholic, do you think at that time, were you more of a believer? Like, I feel like the Catholics really, they're big into exorcisms and they, their miracles and all of that,
I have a couple stories to tell you about the exorcism and other stuff.
Ooh.
So, for some reason, my parents thought it was okay for me to see The Exorcist. Okay.
At what age is this?
Well, it traumatized me. I was living like in my closet for, I'm not exaggerating. I was literally in my closet for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
I just could not go in my bed. I was
Sure.
just like petrified.
Yeah.
And my father's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Dad, I don't want to go to sleep." He's like, "Well, how does it make a difference if you're in the closet or not? Get in your bed."
So you were in the closet way back then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I just came out. No, the Catholic religion, they're teaching you all the time about God and all, and they're the priest at the time and the Christian nuns and all that,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, no, this is the word of God. This is
They were serious.
This is real.
This is real. We're not. There's no story here. This is, you got to follow this.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I really ingested it, and I thought I had to be kind to everybody and all this. I really did.
Nobody was under suspicion.
Still
No,
a
nobody
good
was under suspicion,
lesson.
right? I wasn't trying to, cleanse the world. I was just trying to
be the best Anthony you could be.
best Anthony I could be, and be, make the nuns like me, because if they liked you, you get less, whacked with the ruler.
Yeah.
So but that, like I was saying, I saw The Exorcist, and it just shattered. I was like, oh man, I literally would go to church on Saturday, which is Saturday's not church time.
No,
right?
yeah.
You don't go to church on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'd go on Saturday and wait so I could talk to the priest and just figure out, and the priest told me The Exorcist is just a movie. Don't, I'm like, well, are there exorcisms? And he's like, yeah, but that's not one of them. I'm like,
Well, actually,
Have you listened to our Exorcist
yeah,
episode?
actually it was, but the story is completely different. It was a boy. It was not in the same area. Like, they just took the concept of it basically from that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But it's like he's saying it's not true, but yet also it does happen.
Yeah.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
my little impressionable mind, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm fighting this. This ain't happening in my house. I start, I took a Tupperware.
Yeah.
And I dumped all the holy water in the Tupperware. And I had it in my bedroom.
Wow.
And then every once in a while, I'd stick my finger in there and, switch it around to make sure that no spirits were coming.
Wow.
It just really, that wrecked me.
See, I was the opposite. I was really into the idea of the exorcisms and stuff like that. I wanted to know more about it. And I asked priest, tell me about the exorcisms, and nobody would until one, when I was in high school, he was my English teacher. And I was like his favorite, and he gave me a book that had a lot of the prayers in it for the exorcisms. And I had that for a long time, and I lost it. I don't know what happened to it.
See that? So here's the other side of that. If you ever read Revelations,
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
it's a scary.
It is really scary.
That's a scary book.
It is, yeah.
Right? So I'm already freaked out, and they're like, we're reading Revelation. So I'm like, oh, okay. What? There's a goat with 13 eyes and horns. What? Oh, this is not. I had all that stuff in my head, so
Wow.
I was really, really just traumatized by all
Yeah,
this stuff.
I could definitely see that, though.
And and it stuck with me. It's
Sure.
So it's so. As we go into this, like, as a kid, obviously you're scared, won't go any near it. But when I became a teenager, I wanted to be around all of it, right?
Yeah.
All the famous
now all of a
Chicago
sudden.
stuff.
Sure, okay.
Now I want to go see what's going on.
Sure.
And I'll tell you a story. You guys know Monk's Castle?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
St. James Cemetery?
Yeah, in fact, we're going to be going there Saturday.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You too.
are too.
Oh, I'm going.
You're going there, yeah.
Maybe I'm not. But we went to St. James Cemetery, and my friend, there was like probably 15 of us, and my a bunch of us went ahead, and some of us went back, and I was walking through the cemetery, and I hear, and I'm like, what is this? This is what? All right, stupid, stop it, stop it, right, just stop it. I keep walking, and I'm looking around, and then I kind of feel like something hit me in the back. Right?
Wow.
So I'm like, what is this? So I turn around, I can't see nothing. From one of the graves, an arm comes out and grabs my leg.
Oh, jeez.
I screamed, well, I don't know what, it was like bloody murder.
How you going to feel going back there then?
Well, let me just tell you, the arm was my friend.
Oh, okay.
Who hid in the grave.
Perfect. Yes.
And he jumped out.
Nice.
And I was like, I start running. We're all running through the woods. Well, the monks or priests or whatever.
The ninja monks.
They turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Right? It's pitch black in there. All of a sudden, it's like
so bright. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a football field. And giant lights on. We're running. The priest comes out. You kids, stop! We're running through the cemetery.
Wow.
Tripping, falling. It was just crazy.
I've got a similar experience. I, was in Monk's Castle, and we were going through the graveyard, and suddenly I felt this like cold, like this, like it was like so cold, and I think it was summer even, and I was freezing for a second. And then I heard a noise, and that's all it took. I booked.
He didn't even wait for the arm.
And But,
he heard that first noise that you heard, and he left.
But you can't exactly park there. You have to park like down a way. So I ran to the car, and being a big guy like I am, you would think I would stop. Nope, I continued to go. I was running for my life.
Well, I just actually re-listened to, this is our, Resurrection Mary Revisited episode. And so in honor of that, I listened to our first episode. And you actually mentioned Monk's Castle at that time. And in that episode, and I believe that you mentioned the karate fighting monks.
Did you not karate
ninja monk? Did you hear the ninja story? Were you assuming they would come out and fight you as ninjas?
I thought for sure I was going to be kneeling on rice for the rest of my life. I was petrified.
And you're going to see Saturday just how nice they are. That he waves us on. He tells us, "Go ahead, go in there," because money's involved with it.
Right.
So,
I was going to say, so childhood trauma hopefully will be resolved with this. So.
All right. So when did you first hear about Resurrection Mary?
Oh, so southwest side of Chicago, it's like 59th and Harlem.
Sure.
So that's real close to
Resurrection,
right? My let me think. It was an uncle or something who died.
Mm-hmm.
And normally Italian, we all go to Queen of Heaven or Mount Carmel, right? But this uncle went to Resurrection. So,
which is a nice cemetery. I mean, it's big. It's really big. Yeah.
It's got a lot of gates and stuff. At that time, when I was young, it didn't have the gates all over the place.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It had one gate in the front.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was kind of open.
You could sneak in.
You could do whatever you want in there. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like my playground, but
it was open because right now if it's closed you can't get in. Like there's no getting in there.
Get in there before.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's probably ways you can get in, but don't do that, listeners.
We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So my cousins who were just they all were just they're just horrible. They're just not nice people. They started telling me all these Resurrection Mary stories. Resurrection Mary. Did you ever hear of Resurrection Mary? No, I don't know who Resurrection Mary is. Oh, Resurrection Mary's here.
Wow.
Like, what do you mean Mary's here? This is at the funeral, right? We're standing at the gravesite. They're dropping the body in there, and they're going like, no, she's here. And once you come into the cemetery, there's a chance she's going to come and see you again.
Okay.
No.
What the heck? Another thing to add to my trauma.
Right, exactly.
So I'm freaked out. So I went to St. Lawrence, right? We're arch enemies.
Yeah.
But I went to St. Lawrence.
I hate Mount Carmel more than...
Mount Carmel and Fenwick. I wasn't a Fenwick fan.
Well, I mean, when I was in school, we went... We went like undefeated. Our football team went undefeated the whole year. And then we went to, the playoff kind of games, whatever they're called. And we lost to Mount Carmel, who we beat already.
Oh.
So that's where it comes from.
Sticks
it does.
That's sticking your craw.
Yeah.
So, you know what? As I got older, like I said, we started jacking around at the cemetery. Because now, from a kid... afraid of Resurrection Mary. When I got older, I wanted to find her. I was
sure. You're like, hey,
I wanted to see Resurrection Mary.
You want to talk to her,
right? So, my friends and I, we got 2 cars, right? And I'm in the back car, and my friend Patrick, he's like, he picks a girl up right on the side of the road, right? He picks a girl up.
Okay.
So we didn't have cell phones then.
Yeah.
Right? So you couldn't call him and be like, what are you doing? You know, you couldn't say anything to him.
So he was like in front of you. You saw him like pull over.
He pulls over.
Girl gets in the car.
We're sitting in the car behind him. We're like, what's going on?
All right.
He gets in the car. He takes off. So we follow him, right? We're going around Resurrection Cemetery. We end up going to, there's a restaurant right over there. I can't think of the name of it now. There's a restaurant right off of 79th and Archer Road.
Okay. I think, isn't that there's a funeral home there? I think there's a restaurant across. Oh yeah, there is a restaurant across the street from there.
Right.
That's where people go for like their luncheons and stuff. Yeah.
Right? So he goes in there and he's gonna go park. And if you
with his lady, I gotcha. We're a clean show,
right?
but you know, we got it.
Kids don't do that no more. We're the only ones who did that. Everybody gets arrested now, but we got tapped on the glass like, get out of here.
I mean, I'm not going to say that that's happened to me, but I'm not going to say it didn't happen to me.
So anyways, Patrick goes, and whatever happens, we're waiting. He comes out, and he taps on the window, and we roll the window down. What are you doing, dummy? We got to go. He's like, dude. She's gone. I'm like, what? He's like, she just left.
Like, what did you say to her? What did you know? Right?
What'd you do?
Yeah.
Like, did you grab something you ain't supposed to be grabbing? What did you do, Patrick?
And by the way, he's not talking about the Patrick.
No, he's not talking about me.
There's another Patrick. I'm not going to say his name because he's from that neighborhood.
That's all right. That's all right. No last names on this episode. I gotcha.
You'd know him. So we're like, what'd you do, Patrick? He's like, I swear to God, I didn't do. She's. Oh, well, what is her name? Mary. We're like, come on, Patrick, you're so full. Come on, we don't. So we're driving and we're behind Patrick, and he pulls over again, and we're like, this guy's nuts. So he pulls over again, and he's telling us, you know, didn't you see her? We're like, who? He's like, Mary, she was just there.
Wow.
We're like, no, dude, you're full of crap, right? So we're you know, that story always kind of like, I was there, so I kind of know what's happening. So we think he's just messing around with us,
sure,
right? So
I mean, it's an elaborate prank, but a prank, right? Yeah,
he ain't that smart. I don't know. That's what I think. But so that kind of came and went, and we're driving around again, and we go into the cemetery. We're in a car.
This is a different night.
It's a different night.
Okay,
different guys. So this kid Eddie's driving, and Eddie's the kind of dude who, like, he doesn't say anything.
Okay,
but he's like if you were thinking of like a serial killer in your mind,
that would be Eddie.
This would be Eddie.
Wow. Okay.
It's really super quiet, but
nice friends you got there.
Yeah, I had weird friends. So he was just weird, man. So Eddie's like, let's go into Resurrection. I'm like, all right, we'll go. Right,
been here before.
Yeah,
all right,
ain't afraid.
Yeah.
So
you ain't afraid of no ghost?
No, I ain't afraid of no ghost. Lying, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, your 8-year-old self is like, yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So he goes in there and he's driving around, and then he starts to do donuts, and he's
wow.
Oh, jeez.
On the grass?
Well, on the grass,
yeah,
but also on the gravestone. So the car
starts
whipping around like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
God.
Oh man, dude, stop! I'm like, Eddie, stop.
Yeah.
I'm screaming at him now because I'm really mad.
Yeah,
it wasn't respectful to me to drive on a greenstone.
Yeah,
sure, no, not at all.
Totally freaked out.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, stop. So I'm like, pull the car over. So he pulls the car over, and I would beat the crap out of Eddie because I was a little bit, I was boxing at that time.
Yeah.
I was just ready to beat him up. I was really mad.
You're like, it was a few years before the seminary.
Right,
So
I was mad. I was really mad at him. So I'm like, I'm going to not, dude. So I get out of the car, whatever. We're going back and forth. We're yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, something bad is going to happen to us. I'm telling you, something bad is going to happen to us.
Mm.
So we drive out of the cemetery. We're going to get on 55.
Okay.
Right? We get on 55. We're going on the highway on 55. He lived in Summit.
Summit.
You know,
Oh,
Summit's
yeah.
right
Yeah.
next to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to go that
I used to call
way.
it Scummit.
Yeah, he used to call it Summit.
Yeah.
So we're going to Summit.
sorry for any listeners that live in Summit.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But it was kind of had a reputation anyway.
Yeah.
I had friends who lived there. But
I got arrested there, so that's why I say that.
Yeah, they get you over
Yeah,
there. You got to
yeah.
be careful.
Yeah.
Although they had that little bunny hill like for going sledding and stuff. That was kind of cool in Summit Park there.
Oh, cool. I never did that. No.
Yeah, it was all right.
I did Marquette Park, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
Marquette Park, or what was the one on the south side with the big slide?
That's Marquette Park. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're driving on 55, and I'm not exaggerating, and a car comes from across the highway, swerving, smashes right into the front end of his car.
Whoa.
I mean, like it was a magnet, like it was drawn to,
Wow.
wham, smashes into the
Wow.
car. We go spinning around. You know, I smack my head on the window because we didn't wear seatbelts.
Doesn't say nobody
Yeah.
wore seatbelts by then. No.
Seatbelts. I smack my head on the window. This other kid, Tony, he knocked his
Teeth?
Teeth.
yeah, his front tooth was like wiggling and stuff.
Wow. Oh, my
He got
God.
hurt. And this kid, Eddie smashed his car up good. Now,
Wow.
because he's a serial killer. He's a serial killer junior because his father was serious dude, man.
Eddie Sr. was pretty brutal, huh?
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
We got to his house, and he's asking him what happened, and he's like, "Well, Dad, we were on the highway, and a car came
Yeah.
and hit the car. Right? We could have stopped there, but Anthony, being the guy that I am,
Oh, no.
I had to tell him what happened. Why I
Yeah.
think.
But this is why we got
this
it.
is why we got hit, right?
Oh, jeez.
So I told him, I said, he was doing donuts on gravesite.
Wow.
Oh no.
His father, he was a Polish guy,
Yeah.
and he had like the grease back hair.
Okay.
Right?
So he's a greaser guy.
Yeah.
Someone
so-
named Eddie's a greaser. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had so he got so mad, he started shaking Eddie like,
Oh.
No.
and the greased up hair got it was like standing straight up in
Oh,
the
my
air.
God.
Oh
And
no.
me and my friends were like petrified and laughing at the same
He had,
time.
he had a mohawk. One of the
Yeah,
first people.
It was
Yeah.
it looked like someone hit him in the head with a snowball and just got stuck with it.
Oh.
Wow.
So Eddie's his father's choking him. I'm gonna kill you. You
Wow.
dumb. And I'm petrified, and my buddy Tony's laughing. He's like, "This is funny." I'm like, "This is not funny." I said, "This is bad news."
Yeah.
Right? So that night, I go home and I'm just cannot sleep. I'm just worked up and I cannot sleep. And I'm sitting in the my mom had like those old furniture sets with the mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
She had like 3 mirrors.
Okay.
They were like divided 1, 2, 3.
Mm.
And I'm looking and I'm seeing a reflection and to me it's Mary, right?
Mm.
I'm looking at it and I'm like,
Like in the corner?
yeah, it's like in the corner of the room,
Okay.
like staring, hovering over me.
Sure.
Oh wow.
And I'm just freaked out.
Did you get up or anything, or did you
Yeah,
just?
I got up out of bed,
Yeah.
right, and went downstairs. Now, we had kind of a small house, and
Uh-huh.
I had a little brother and 2 sisters, and my brother slept in my room,
Okay.
right? So I got up. I went
Or
downstairs.
you shared a room with your brother. It was also his room.
It was not shared. He just had to live there. So I went downstairs and I'm sitting in my underwear And my father comes downstairs and he's like, "What are you doing in your underwear sitting down here?" I'm like,
on the good furniture.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, Dad, I think Mary's in my room.
Oh, no.
He's like, "What? What are you talking?" I'm like,
Resurrection Mary is up there.
Resurrection Mary's in my room. I swear to God, she's staring at the. And then I ratted on myself and told him, "Well, we went to the cemetery.
Oh no!"
And we were driving on the Grand, and he smacks me in the head. He's like, "You dummy!"
Oh,
He's like,
no.
"I hope she's in there, and I hope she tortures you. Get in her bed right now before I kill you."
Oh no!
So I go upstairs to bed, and I'm just like looking, and then the next day we get to school. Right, we were all going to St. Lawrence at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We get to school, and we're all together, and my friends are telling me, "Dude, did you guys see Resurrection Mary last night?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And my other friends are going like, "I did too. I swear to God."
Oh,
I swear.
wow.
She was right. I'm like, I didn't tell anybody's story except for my father, and I'm pretty sure he didn't call them up and tell them.
No,
Right,
I'm
like,
sure
don't
he
make sure
didn't,
tomorrow
yeah.
tell him
Yeah.
that you also saw her.
Right, petrified. So,
Wow.
that story still, I don't believe it, and I believe it at the same time. Like I was saying, I'm skeptical, but man, it's still, now that you're older and you're like, you have psychology and all this, you're like, oh, like you could have been like manifesting Resurrection Mary because you were thinking about it or whatever. But to me, she still was sitting in the mirror in my room.
Wow.
I mean, like you can right. I mean, so two things. Number one, with the first story, if you hadn't seen him pick up a girl, like, you said like the second time you were like, we didn't see anything. And he was like, hey, don't you see her? Like if that had been what happened the first, like if you just like saw him pull over randomly, didn't see a girl, you know what I mean? Like, then I'd be like, okay, like something's up with your friend. Like, I don't know what's going on. But the fact that you saw a girl get into his car and didn't see her leave.
And she had a blue dress on, and the material was like, and I should get slapped for just knowing this. It was chiffon. It was like chiffon material. But
also in the Resurrection Mary episode, we did have a debate about what color her dress was.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think blue came up, though. I think we were deciding between like purple and white or something. But
yeah. Because all of them wear white. I mean, for some reason. That's all the ghosts we get is woman in white.
No, this one was blue.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
that
like,
is so creepy.
It's like in... you can do like Florida Man went down to here and did this. Well, we have woman in white.
Yeah,
that's,
right.
That's our thing. Yeah.
But then the story about seeing her in the mirror, like you said, the fact that your friends also had that experience gives it more credibility to me. So
now, is this around the same time you went to Bachelor's Grove?
So Bachelor's Grove.
Anthony's got a lot of stories.
Yeah.
So we went to we went to Bachelor's Grove, right? And I didn't know where the heck we were going. Me outside of like anything that's on 55 or Harlem Avenue.
Yeah,
I'm lost.
Yeah, you're around Archer and Harlem, right. So to be all the way on Midlothian, that's
right. That's like in another. Like I thought we were like in a farm country. I had no idea. So my buddy drives. We go out there, and the deal with the Bachelor's Grove, at least in what I remember.
Which, by the way, we're going back there Saturday too. So,
well, we won't be going inside though. It'll be okay. But I'm interested because again, we certainly did. We did 2 episodes on Bachelor's Grove.
We did 2. Yeah.
We
were going to do more.
We were going to do more. We could do more. There's a lot there. But I'm curious, like, just like with Resurrection Mary, like, what were you told? You know what I mean, like about that place before you went. We
heard like that the people who were buried there was the graves were all messed up.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
That if you go there, you're going to see like a light, and the light's going to like float and then go further and further back.
Huh.
Right.
Yep.
And we figured we got nothing to do. Let's go find this thing. Right?
I had that experience at Maple Lake.
Really?
Looking across Maple Lake, I saw like a house with the light. But then you try to go over there and it wasn't there.
Yeah. So our experience in Bachelor's Grove was again, blue light. So I don't know what everybody else is seeing, but I'm seeing.
No, blue light. That's the story.
It's a blue
that is
light.
the story there.
So there's a blue light out there, and my buddies are like, let's go walking in there. So I have to preface this by what I used to wear as my like uniform. Like, you know, you're a kid like
Cavaricis and
so this I had on dress pants.
Yeah.
the loafers with the tassels on them.
Oh,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. This is racist, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Dago tee.
Yeah.
Right? I'm Italian. I could say that.
Yeah.
And I had a Dago tee on.
Like a white T-shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
White T-shirt.
White sleeveless T-shirt.
Gotcha.
And then a giant medal. And
Anthony, come
Oh,
on.
Anthony.
it was a
You
giant,
just need the tracksuit. You just need
giant
the.
medal. Right? So my friends are like, hey, we're going to
You
go.
sure you weren't in an episode of The Bear?
Yeah, that's right. We dressed the same.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, they're like, let's go follow the light. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to follow the light. So like,
Poor Anthony. Guys, I don't want to follow the light.
so they're like, you know, and then they just give you stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're a sissy. You got to go. So I'm like, okay. So we're walking in the woods. Well, it's the woods.
It's
so,
real, and it's like crazy woods there. Like it's hard to walk through those woods.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm getting those, what are them like?
Burrs.
Burrs, like getting
Yeah.
stuck on my pants.
Mhm.
Right?
Ah.
Well, this is aggravating me, so I'm pulling those burrs out. Then it's getting wet. So my shoes are wet. I ruined a very good pair of shoes. Probably cost me
Oh yeah.
$25.
Sure. No. Again, I those woods are not. These are not like what you think of as like.
Did you get the shoes at JCPenney's?
No, I got those. I got them at merry-go-round. You know?
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
Merry-go-round.
merry-go-round.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, so we're walking out there in this light, and they're like, "Okay, it's over here. It's right there. But we'll get to it."
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we got closer, it went farther away. So they had me.
Wow.
Now we're in the middle of the freaking woods. My shoes are soaked.
Yeah.
They're destroyed. I got my socks wet, which I hate more than anything. And you guys,
Oh,
know
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'm a sock guy. I'm weird
Yep.
with
Yeah.
socks.
He can't put on socks twice. So,
No, exactly
like, yeah.
right. They don't. I
Yeah.
got like 300 pairs of socks, and it's not an exaggeration for your show. This is truthful. I have at least 300 pairs of socks.
Wow.
And I just was freaked out. And my buddies know that I'm, you know, susceptible to being scared shitless,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they're, hey, Anthony, did you ever hear a story? And I'm like, what story? So they start making up.
You should never say what story.
Yeah,
Just be
right.
like, yes, I did. I heard it already.
I know all the stories.
Well,
Yeah.
16-year-old Anthony didn't know that.
Let me go back in time.
Yeah, someone should have whispered to me. If anybody is back to the futuring, or please send me something. Just let me know not to do that. So it was. They had me petrified. By the time we left, I was running, and I left one of my really fantastic shoes in the swamp.
Oh,
area,
my
whatever
God.
it was. I call it a swamp. It's probably like a little bit of water.
Sure.
But it just freaked
Well,
me
there.
out.
I mean,
Yeah.
there is like a little lake there,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
lake-ish kind of thing, and it's kind of swampy, like so.
Well, back then, especially, it's not
Yeah.
as clear. It's more cleared up now, but I bet it wasn't
Yeah.
back then.
But it was pitch
messy.
black, too.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
And nobody
yeah.
had cell phone lights. And
No,
we didn't
no.
have anything.
Right.
And we're in the middle. It's pitch black. I could barely see my face, myself. You know. And
Yeah.
Good thing you made it back, though. You know,
Well,
you could have been lost in those woods.
I could have been. I could have been a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Right?
Rebecca's brother got lost in the woods. We went there to film something, and he's just like, "I got to go in the woods." Like, oh, okay. And we thought he'd be back in like 5-10 minutes. He was gone for like an hour.
Yeah. And when he
And
came back, he didn't realize.
And he was like it was like he had the camera too. So it was like a Blair Witch thing. I have all this footage of him being like, I don't know where I am.
Yeah. And this was during the
Yeah.
day. Yeah. So I can't imagine you being, I mean, I've only been there in the day. I can't imagine the night. I
Yeah.
will just say your shoe, it did just remind me of a funny story of like being scared in the shoe thing. So my friends and I, we like to get scared, but we didn't go to Bachelor's Grove. We would go to like the JC haunted house. But they were pretty good. They were scary at the time. So I remember there's 3 of us and we're going through, and there's like a dark room, right? Where you just have to find your way through the room to like the other side. And something happened and we got scared and we started running. And my friend lost her shoe and she was like, wait, stop. I lost my shoe. And me and my other friend just went, forget the shoe, run. Luckily, my friend was not that dumb. And she was like, no, I need my shoe.
Yeah.
And she made them like turn on the lights or whatever it was so she could find her shoe. But me, Rebecca, 16-year-old Rebecca was like, forget the shoe, get out.
You don't have shoes anymore.
Shoes don't exist.
It's not your shoe. You don't care.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't my shoe. That's also true.
You didn't buy it in merry-go-round.
No, that's true.
I was mad.
So any other stories about Resurrection Mary or Bachelor's Grove that you'd like to share?
So I could tell you this isn't Resurrection Mary, but this is Mary herself.
Okay.
Oh.
So my father died when I was 16 years old, and it was devastating to my family. And one of the things,
it was unexpected.
Yeah, we had no idea.
Yeah.
He died, and my mom was just very, very depressed.
Yeah.
Just so totally depressed. She had 4 kids. I was 16 and my brother was 6.
Wow.
So, and then my sisters were 15 and 10. And so my mom was she was really upset that she couldn't find, my father had a gold chain with a medal on it of Mary, and she couldn't find it, and she was really upset about it because she wanted it to wear. You know,
this is like just to be, Mother Mary, like this is
Virgin
Mary.
Yeah. So she could not find it. She could not find it, and she was praying on it, and she was just really distraught and upset, and walking around the house like crying all day. It was just really a horrible time in my life, and my mother. I felt real compassion for my mother, but she kept praying, and she told me this when she passed away. So she passed away like 6 or 7 years ago, and right before she died, she told me this story again. She said I was laying in bed, and I just couldn't stop crying, and I looked up, and there was Mary. Right above a drawer in the dresser, right?
Wow.
Above this drawer, and she just felt comfort from her being there, right? So she didn't freak out. She just felt comfort, and she started to feel better, right? She just felt better. She said like it was like she felt peace, right? And in the morning, after the night, she got up from bed and she went and opened the drawer, and underneath, like all the clothes and where all this, it's your drawer. You got stuff jammed in there or whatever. We didn't have we were poor. Yeah. We weren't poor, but we had we didn't have a lot of drawers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they were jammed tight.
Sure.
But she went poking around in the drawer and she found that
medal.
That medal.
Wow.
And she wore that, and it just made her feel better.
Yeah.
And from my recollection and from it, just what my mother started to become my mother again, because for months she just had been like this.
It's got to be difficult. Yeah.
Sure.
So, and I've told that story, and some people say, that's probably.
Who's got the chain now?
My sister.
Your sister? Okay.
But my mother, again, she said it on her deathbed.
Yeah.
So
she definitely stuck with her. It was
stuck with her, and it meant something to her.
Sure.
Yeah. When I was younger, I had an experience where I used to sleep on the couch because I was this little hoodlum kid that, didn't like, I would sleep during the day. That's when I would sleep, party all night, sleep all day, except I didn't really party that much either. So I don't know. I was just up all night. Yeah, exactly. And, I got woken up by this noise, and it was a typical, Chicago house. So I had the front room not the front room. That's what I want to say, the front room.
Front room.
The front room, and then there was a dining room right next to it, attached to it.
Sure.
And I looked up and looked into the dining room, and I saw this silhouette of a woman. And I jumped up. This is right when I became Wiccan, actually, like shortly after that. And I jumped up and I saw it, and it was clearly Mary. It was clearly her. I could, see it with, like if I close my eyes right now, I could picture exactly what it looked like. And I jumped up, and I remember backing up because I was like afraid. And I backed up into the door and could feel it on my back. And then I don't know what happened, but I went back to sleep somehow, some way. And I woke up and I was like, well, that didn't happen. But then I looked in the mirror and I looked at my back and I could see a big welt. And my dog was freaked out too.
Well,
so,
do you want me to tell you my Ouija board story?
Yeah.
Oh goodness, we're getting all the scary stories. I love it.
So I had this babysitter. She was like 3 years older than me. So
okay.
As I got older, she was still there for my brothers and sisters.
Sure.
I was like testing her. You know what I mean? I was kind of a bad kid, so I was definitely
no. What you?
I was testing her. So they decided that my sister and two of her girlfriends decided that they're going to do the Ouija board in my house. Right. And I'm like, I don't want the Ouija board.
Yeah.
They're like, nope, we're doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm in charge here. You go upstairs and leave us alone. So I'm like, okay. So
you're like, I've seen The Exorcist. I know where this goes, everybody.
In my mom's house, she got stairs coming up, and then there's like into the living room,
Sure.
So I'm hiding behind the stairs, and they're asking the questions, and this thing is answering the questions, right? Whatever it's floating around, and it's answering the questions, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, right? I'm this young dude with crazy testosterone brain, and I don't know what to do because I'm like freaked out. I literally,
and you're the man of the house,
right? I'm the man in the house. I'm freaked out. So I start to like pace, and they're still doing it. And then I came downstairs, and I'm standing in the middle of the room. And I just think of this, screaming at the top of my lungs, "Stop it!"
You're like, what, 12 or something at this point?
Like, stop it! And they're looking at me like, no, we're not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
So I'm freaking out. I run in a room and I grab that
Ouija board.
And then I run to the screen door. But I don't open the screen door. I run through the screen door.
Oh, jeez.
Bust all the glass out of it. Right? And run out and take the Ouija board. And I got cut up, but not bad. I just got, it's the little louver glasses.
Sure,
so boom, I smashed that out. The door disintegrates. I run up to the tracks because I lived on 59th Street.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Tracks.
Yep.
So I run up there and I wing that Ouija board across the track, right? And I come back and she's pissed.
Yeah, I'm sure she is.
I mean, I would just be like, what just happened?
She's super angry. She called. My mom was working like a midnight shift. She was like Ace Hardware. They used to have a distribution point in, on 63rd Street.
Yeah.
So she calls my mom. My mom's like, what is going on? I'm coming home. I'm killing you.
Oh, my gosh.
So my mom comes home. She comes home from work. She's mad now because she's losing money.
Yeah.
And I'm like freaking out.
And you broke a door.
And I broke the door. Right? So she comes home. She's like, I don't even want to tell your father what happened because he's going to kill you for sure. Right? So she's like, we're going to try to fix this. Well, 4 teenage girls or 3 teenage girls, my sister and my mother, trying to fix the door. It looked like it got hit by a tornado. It's like all twisted up and broken glass. Everything cleaned up the glass. And my father came home and he was just like, dude, what is your problem?
Wow.
Well, see, the priest, when I asked him about the exorcisms, he told me that they do happen.
Well, they sent me to Catholic school. And
they expect you not to listen. Yeah.
Right. And you're good. You know, the priests are very nonchalantly telling you all these miracles.
Yeah.
Like you said, miracles and things that happen and they believe it. I mean, they believe it.
Sure.
So my mind is impressionable.
Yeah.
I believed it too.
Absolutely.
But I still, to this day, I don't want to have a Ouija board in my house. I just don't want it.
Oh, well, that's too bad because I bought you one, Anthony. Here you go. No.
Get it back. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like that's opening a door to something that I feel like if you believe in God, then you have to believe in the devil too. That there's...
Yeah. I agree with that. More and more.
I totally disagree.
I had a creepy experience with the Ouija board when I was, a preteen too, but I don't know. I was still maybe nervous, but I did it after that. But like I would say in the last 10 years, I just, no.
I think you guys are giving it too much power. By fearing it like that.
That's fine.
It's just a board.
So, let me
you can cut sausage on that board.
Well, but that's not the same as using it for that.
Let me say this to you: if somebody told you, like, "Hey, if you eat Fruity Pebbles, you're gonna get autoimmune disease."
But I love Fruity Pebbles.
I know you do, but
yeah,
if you don't eat Fruity Pebbles, you're gonna get autoimmune disease. Would you test it, or would you?
Yeah,
just say
probably. Unfortunately, I probably would.
Knowing Pat, yes.
Yeah,
if you tell him not to do something, it's the first.
Anthony, I was in a prison that's supposed to be haunted that is no longer a prison, and I let someone talk me into going blindfold into a room, sitting on a bucket while they had cameras facing me to see if anything was going to get me.
Well, Patrick, that's dumb. I don't know what to tell you.
That's what I do. So, you know.
Yeah, I suggest you don't do that.
I asked the shadow people to come visit me before. So
and they have. That's still doesn't learn.
Yeah. All right. Well, Anthony, do you have anything that you have going on that you want to promote or anything?
No, well, I have this podcast and I'm on today. Promote that.
No, you know what? Listeners may not know that Pat does improv comedy on occasion.
Yeah.
And Anthony is also an improver, and they have done improv together.
Oh, hundreds of times.
Many
Yeah.
Yep. That's how they met. So they are.
Even though we grew up in the same neighborhood almost. So,
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, within a mile or two, like apart. So that's weird, but that's.
So
hey,
therefore,
that's life.
you can't do comedy together.
No. We do the best comedy together because of that.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Patrick's a little younger than me. So.
I was gonna say there's a reason that you didn't know each other.
Yeah.
I
would have known him as Old Man Anthony then.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've brought up names of people that I went to school with that Anthony has been like, "Yep, I know that person. I know that person."
Or the family.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And St. Rita. My brother went to St. Rita.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't smart enough to go to St. Lawrence. I'm just saying.
Because he was smarter. That's what it was. Yeah.
You never met him.
Yeah.
He's not.
Well, Anthony, I want to thank you for coming on and giving us all these spooky stories. It's been 5 years in the making that we've been, that we were going to do this, and I always meant to get you on before. We just didn't want to revisit Resurrection Mary yet, and now.
Yeah. I mean, when we did that episode, I don't think we knew somebody that actually has seen Resurrection Mary. So it's perfect that we get to bring this
But what's
story
interesting
today.
is Saturday, it's all coming back because we're doing all of those places on Neil's tour.
I didn't know that.
We're going to be revisiting all of these places.
So we might have to have you on the podcast again after that to tell us what your feelings were about that.
Right. And did I get released from the hospital yet?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and did you bring a clean pair of underwear with you? Because you're probably going to need it.
I always bring
clean
extra.
pair of socks.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
the need.
socks
I'm
too.
gonna have like 34 pairs of socks. It's necessary.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on again.
Oh, thank you guys. And, I want to congratulate you guys. 5 years in the making, that's an accomplishment in itself. And these things go away so simply. And you guys have stood the test of time, and I'm happy to be
well,
here.
thank you, man. Thank you so much. All right, we'll talk to you soon, Anthony.
Hey Ghostly, it's Jacob Mayfield, and I wanted to wish you a very, very happy anniversary. It feels like just yesterday when we first met at Elgin Fringe all those years ago. And it felt like an instant connection, and from that moment on, you've been one of my favorite podcasts. The quality and quantity of the work you do is no small feat. It never ceases to amaze me, and it's just always delightful. There's always something that delights me in what you do. Now, not only am I a big fan of the show, but I'm also just really glad to have developed a friendship with you. You've been such a fantastic presence in my life, personally and professionally, and I can't imagine things without you. Your passion for all things paranormal and spooky, it's contagious, and it's just been a pleasure to get to know both of you. So here's to many more years of spine-chilling, ghostly episodes. Now, like all Chicagoland natives around, the spooky season, Resurrection Mary is top of mind. And for me, it all started with watching Unsolved Mysteries. They did a segment on Resurrection Mary that really is quite good. And that's always the thing that I go back to. You can watch it on YouTube. And I'm always amazed with Resurrection Mary, the reach that this tale has. It's very familiar in the area that we live in, but there are people from all over the country, even the world, who are familiar with this ghost story. And for me, I think it just goes to show how vital it is to the fabric of the paranormal community in Chicago. Anyway, before I sign off, I do want to share some exciting news. My book, Tarot Odyssey, A Beginner's Guide to the Meaning of All 78 Cards, Their Origin, and Developing Your Intuition, is now available on Amazon. So if you're interested in delving deeper into the world of tarot, I would love for you to check it out. Hopefully, Pat and Rebecca will sneak a little link into the show notes. Anyway, happy Halloween, and I'm wishing all of you pleasant nightmares. Bye for now.
Hi, Rebecca and Pat, and all the ghostly people. It's me, David Vox Mullen, your favorite reoccurring guest. And I just wanted to say 5 years podcasting. Wow. Congratulations. What an amazing achievement. I remember, I remember before you even started the show and you were just talking about wanting to do it. And I was so supportive and super excited for you guys. And, to see, what the show has become has been just such a fun experience as an observer. And I just wanted to say we love you guys and, congratulations on your success. With that said, I know we are talking about Resurrection Mary. I don't know why I sounded like Donald Trump just then. Resurrection Mary, folks. She's totally resurrected. Okay. Anyway, I've never seen Resurrection Mary, but I know the story. I love the story. I grew up in Chicagoland, south suburbs, so it's very heavily ingrained in my upbringing as far as pop culture and local lore. But I have been to Resurrection Cemetery a handful of times. I have absolutely seen the burn marks on the gates, which is always a fun thing to point out to people as you drive by on Archer Avenue. And it's a great, tremendous story. It's a world-known story, so I would imagine that there are different variants of it around the world. But Resurrection Mary is our little slice of that folklore, and it's an exciting thing to be able to go down Archer and see the spaces and see the, go to the bar and see, where the ballroom used to be. And I think it caught fire, if I remember hearing the story correctly. So maybe it's cursed. I don't know. Ooh. Anyway, I love Ghostly podcast. I love listening. Not just because I support you guys because you're my friends, but you guys talk about amazing stuff, and it's stuff that makes you think, and it's fun. And I would love to come back and be a guest on the show again. So give me a call.
Oh, hey there, Ghostly Society and the Ghostly podcast fans. I'm interrupting your special listening privilege of the Ghostly podcast that, one of the best paranormal podcasts, if not the best paranormal podcast ever. I'm interrupting to tell you Resurrection Mary stuff. But I'm not alone. So around me, I have producer, Count Panic. You know him.
Hey, wait, that's not my catchphrase.
That's not your catchphrase.
No, not at all. But yes, big anniversary interruption here.
And Steve Michaels, my co-host, is here.
Oh, hello there.
I'll see you in court.
It was changed just enough.
So Ghostly's 5-year anniversary is going on. They're talking about Resurrection Mary and what it means to us. As a Chicagoan person, there is no other ghost story ever told to me that has more impact than the Resurrection Mary story. It's the local legend of everything, right? There is a lot of holes in it these days. The fact that we don't have a designated grave, we don't even have a positive ID is a thing, and I'm giving Pat some kudos there on the skeptical side. You can't deny the validity of how great that story is.
It's one of the best, anywhere, not just in Chicago, but globally.
People ask me when I travel to conventions, people are like, oh yeah, Resurrection Mary. Yes.
People know it.
People know it. Unsolved Mysteries even did an episode about it. I mean, it's
terrifying.
It is terrifying. And it has the best of every kind of ghost story. It's got a woman in white. It's got a hitchhiking ghost story. And I'm just saying, I believe. What about you? Do you believe it?
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, Archer Avenue is a good cut through anyway, so I'll believe it.
Panic, you believe in Resurrection Mary?
I believe in, again, many women in white out there, but she is the main lady in white.
The main lady in white.
Yes.
Number one.
And now that we said that, I just got a quick warm wish. Once upon a time ago, I met Pat and Rebecca at C2E2, and I was a mere just radio host back then. I wasn't even a podcaster. And I went to a podcaster meetup to kind of get an idea of what podcasting would be, what it would translate to, like if I took my show and I translated it to something different. So I went to this meetup, and everybody in the meeting, there were Transformer podcasters there. There were anime podcasters and pop culture. There was a lot of that. There was only one other paranormal podcast group there that I knew of. And I met Pat and Rebecca that day because I knew the Ghostly podcast name, sorta. And I remember I turned around, and Pat and I used this quote a lot. I introduced myself. I said, oh, hey there, I'm Bob, and I'm sure they were ready to get rid of me, and they haven't, and it's been 5 years since I've known them, 4 years since I've known them. I said to them, paranormal podcasters have to stick together because it's, because we're kind of strange. It's
just a little bit.
You go do a movie podcast, which there's nothing wrong with movie podcasts, but us paranormal folk have a very interesting way of doing it.
It could be worse. You could be doing a wrestling podcast.
Someday I'm going to branch out and make my wrestling podcast. So on behalf of me and the entire Bob After Dark crew, happy 5 years, Pat and Rebecca and Ghostly Podcast.
Happy 5 years.
And here's to another 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 and all that good
Touchdown.
Hip, hip.
Hip, hip, hooray.
Hip,
Hip, hip, hooray.
Hip,
Hip, hip, hooray. Oh, bye there, Ghostly Society and Ghostly listeners. And remember, you can check out Bob After Dark wherever you listen to the podcast. I had to slide the plug in there, right?
Yeah. This all just lit up to one big plug.
It's like everything in life. You just got to put yourself over at the end, don't you, brother?
Happy 5 years, Pat and Rebecca.
Yes,
good night,
happy
everybody.
5 years.
Hey, Ghostly folks. I'm Jason of Tarot by Ta, a proud sponsor and sincerely a big fan and devout listener of Ghostly Podcast. I first crossed paths ever so briefly with the Ghostly hosts, Pat and Rebecca, a few years back at the Roth House in Watseka, Illinois. It went something like this. They came up and asked, "Oh, you're the tarot reader?" I said, "Yep." They said, "Cool, we're Ghostly Podcast." They gave me a sticker or something and then said, "Check us out." And you know what I did? What can I say? I dig Ghostly. It's informative, entertaining, and always just the right kind of spooky fun, if you ask me. So, what are my thoughts on Resurrection Mary? It's a fun story for sure, but as a staunch member of hashtag Team Skeptic, I say that's all it is, a fun story. But whether you're Team Skeptic, Team Believer, or Team Middle, I hope you can join me in congratulating Ghostly for the past 5 years of spooky goodness.
Hey, Rebecca and Pat, it's Nick Mataragas, your favorite skeptic guest, or favorite guest in general, I would probably assume. Anyway, Resurrection Mary. So, I'm sure Resurrection Mary was a lovely human being when she was alive, and now, like all ghosts, she doesn't exist. That's kind of what I think. I also just want to congratulate you on 5 years of Ghostly. It's kind of amazing to think that it's been 5 years plus since Pat told me he wanted to start his own podcast called Ghostly with Rebecca. And I said, Pat, as a skeptic, you are going to be ridiculed. And he said, no, there's no way anybody's going to be mad at me being a skeptic. And so I just wanted to say I was right. Congratulations on 5 years. Try to avoid booking people like David Hickney and Spiros, the Very Bad Fortune Teller, for your shows. Those guys are wackadoo, even more so than some of the other people we know. But it's amazing you guys have done so well. I'm so happy to see all your success and all the growth that Ghostly's had, and just a little bit jealous of the ridiculous following you have. Yeah, and I guess maybe I should become more of a believer if it means that people will start listening to my shows or watching my shows. But you know what? Sometimes, just like my girl, the endings aren't what we expect. Good job, guys.